and welcome to another episode of Rift News, the show you decided to watch because even though you don't play the game, you want to know what's happening. And believe me when I say that today I will shower you with a lot of new things. So, let's start with what's happening on live servers. Of course, last week was April Fool's, and so Riot blessed us with the Dogs vs Cats event. It was on a smaller scale, so if it felt underwhelming to you, that's probably because it was meant that way. One of the reasons why this event was smaller could be because Riot is already working on a bigger event. More on that later. Either way, this event brought us all the new things we covered in the last episode of Rift News, which is bunch of icons, skins and emotes. With it, Riot also released a trailer that is pretty awesome. I appreciate the fact that Riot modeled an entire stage just for this video. Also, all minions in-game now have a clapping animation. Besides this event, which is probably gone at this point, because it was up only for 1 week, the new Hextech Jarvan and Dunkmaster Ivern are also available on live servers. When it comes to lore, Riot released a couple of new bios and 3 short stories. Even though Hecarim and Kalista were fine, Riot decided to flesh out their stories to give Shadow Isles even more context. Because remember, Mordekaiser is coming, and I am expecting something big with his arrival. But besides the 2 updated bios, we also got a short story from the Shadow Isles called The Echoes Left Behind, a story that should dig deeper into Kalista's past. But the Shadow Isles are not the only place we can explore. Riot also gave Zyra a short story because she never had one before. However, don't expect her bio changing. She was updated with the release of Nico, so her base story is fine. And the last story update we got was for Darius. Now Darius already has a fleshed out bio, a short story and even his own comic. So it is surprising to see another story on top of that. But the important thing to note is that the story is called the Winterspike Road. Now Winterspike is a mountain that can be found in Freljord. But previously Winterspike was called Hearthhome. And Hearthhome is the legendary hidden mountain that got destroyed during the battle between Ornn and Volibear. Now the question is, was Hearthhome renamed to Winterspike because nobody technically knows it is Hearthhome, and therefore mortals just named the mountain Winterspike? In which case Winterspike would still be Ornn's home. Or did Riot rename Hearthhome to Winterspike because Hearthhome should be in an entirely different place? My theory is that there is a lot more going on further up north. We know that some Ursine live there, so why wouldn't Volibear and Ornn be there too? This story is also interesting because it mentions certain Minotaur tribe, so you may want to read it if you like the beefy boy. The last thing I should mention is that Riot updated Xin Zhao's story art. So if you were wondering what young Jarvan IV looked like, or what younger Jarvan III looked like, this image will answer your questions. And finally, if you happen to start your client, you may notice that all random Earth is gone, and instead we got Bilgewater ARAM back. I still think that rotating game modes are the future of casual League experience, so I am happy that Riot is constantly feeding us something. That's pretty much it for live content, but PBE just revealed a massive patch full of new skins. So let's have a look at PBE now. Let's start with the Invictus Gaming skins. This, of course, is this year's World Champion skin line, and in my humble opinion, it may be the best one yet. Of course, all of these skins are themed around the black and white team colors, but all of them also carry over a Raven theme. We have Camille that grows wings whenever she uses movement abilities, and instead of blood she sprays around black feathers. Then there is Fiora. She also has great new particle animations. But her special thing is that she references Riven in her recall animation. I didn't know what this was, so people had to educate me. Apparently the Shy, which is the top laner, wanted to have a Riven skin. But in order to pick a champion for the World skin, that player had to play that champion at least once during the World series. And apparently he didn't play Riven at all, so he went for Fiora. Next there is Irelia. In her recall, I like that she is using her blades for the signature, even though the blades don't really follow the lines. Then we have Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa was always a strange design to me, but this skin somehow makes her look more smooth. I like that she can put on a mask with a black crown, but it's a shame that she doesn't shoot actual ravens with her W. When it comes to LeBlanc, however, I would absolutely say that this is the best LeBlanc skin we have. It looks great, all the spells have amazing new animations, and her passive looks incredible. The last one we have is Rakan. Interestingly enough, Rakan is the only one who doesn't have any black particles or details. He is mostly pure white because it better fits his persona. Surrender 20 also has a shot of all the skins side by side. They look really good, but in my opinion the issue is that Fiora and Camille look nearly identical. The only difference is that Fiora holds a blade, and that could be an issue. I wouldn't be surprised if this skin line was banned in pro play for that reason alone. Then again, I don't know why Fiora and Camille would be on the same team in the same game. The last thing this skin line brings us is the new award. Championship Hot Dog. Apparently a hot dog became a meme in Asia during the Worlds. I don't know details, and I'm not sure I want to know. Now besides the World Series, we also got Conqueror Alistar that should be released during MSI. He looks good, but there is something odd about the fact that one of his eyes is normal and the other one is covered with Mexican wrestling mask. And because Riot still likes to cover everything in gold, we can expect a golden version of this skin, as well as all the other Conqueror skins. These include Karma, Nidalee, Ahri and Varus. And let me tell you, I don't know what happened to his hair, but Varus looks really weird here. And speaking of gold, Prestige KDA Evelynn arrived as well. Honestly, it is not too different from the original. I mean, at least when it comes to particles and sound effects. I'm not blind, she is gold. But Riot saw it as well, so now they are trying to make her a bit shinier. Here is a comparison between the old and the new version. But we are still not done with skins. We have one more to go. A legendary skin. Galaxy Slayer Z. At first I thought that this one was just strange. I mean, if you look at this image, the skin looks quite noisy and busy. So the hype didn't really get me. But it all changed when I saw his joke animation.
Look at us. Are we not the perfect reflection of your juvenile fantasies?
That, ladies and gentlemen, is a Kog'Maw from Odyssey. Yes, this means that this skin is directly connected to Odyssey. And it opens up so many topics to talk about. But before we do that, let's quickly cover the skin itself. In the same joke animation, you can see he is using blue volcanoes to cook the Kog'Maw. These volcanoes are one of the original League of Legends icons. He also has this dance, which will not be memed at all. But besides these, it is just a good looking skin. The only flaw is that because he has a lot of details and he looks busy, once you start spreading shadows around, no one will have any idea where you are. It's a little bit of an advantage for the Z player, unless you are like me and you lose track of yourself. Now back to Odyssey. Not only is Zed cooking an Odyssey Kog'Maw, not only is he using aura to create his armor, not only is he holding aura in his splash art, but he also has quotes exclusively against other galactic skins and the crew members of Odyssey. Now let's try to predict something. Remember how I said that the April Fool's event was smaller because Riot might be working on something bigger? Well, I think that Odyssey will come back in the 4th quarter of this year, and Zed will be the main boss of that event. He is basically the ultimate villain of Odyssey now. And no, when he's saying we, he is not mentioning other villains. He is most likely talking about his own shadows. Either way, I believe that Zed will become the next boss, and Kayn will join the Odyssey crew as a playable character. This means that Riot might give him special augments just like the others. This would be a really efficient move. They would reuse all their assets and make the event even better. Riot Omu also tweeted Zed on the Odyssey map. I understand that it is really easy for Riot to just pull out the map and put him there, but don't tell me it doesn't mean anything. The last thing about Zed that we need to talk about is his face reveal. Okay, let's not. Instead, the last thing we should mention are all the new icons. Again, all of them were data mined by Surrender at 20. Out of these, take a note of the 2 themed on space. I honestly have no idea what these are, but we also have 3 new Conqueror emotes. Now, while that is it for PvE, we still have interesting things to talk about. Mainly, did you notice that even though we talked about prestige skins, I didn't rage at all? That's because Riot fixed the system. As we said in the last news report, Riot was working on a better system, and finally they delivered. So here's what's happening. There are 2 new ways to get prestige points. The first option is to buy 100 prestige points bundle. These bundles will be available only during special events, and you can buy only 1 bundle per event, which means that you can't burn all your money to pile up prestige points. The idea is that you will be able to exchange event tokens, like lunar tokens for example, for prestige points. So if, for example, you don't like the prestige Firecracker Vane, which cost 1000 lunar tokens, you can instead use your tokens to buy the prestige points and buy a different prestige skin instead. The only catch is that doing so will be slightly more expensive than buying the current event prestige skin. So while the Firecracker Vane will cost 1000 lunar tokens, the 100 prestige points will cost 1100 tokens. If this is too confusing, don't worry, it will make sense when it goes live. But this is not the good news yet. The good news is that every new major event will offer 25 prestige points from its missions. And as of right now, it doesn't seem like event passes will be involved. This means that if you complete the event missions, you will always get 25 prestige points for free. Now, if we get about 5 or 6 major events per year, this means that people will be able to get about 1.5 prestige skins for free every year. That is if you actually play during these events. This is absolutely a great decision and it will make people play more during these events. Thank you, Riot, we needed this. Now, let's move over to new leaks, shall we? First of all, in case you missed it, we released a video where we talked about an animated movie that Riot had in production. Unfortunately, it was shelved, so we likely won't see it anytime soon. But if you want to know what it was supposed to be about, it was supposed to capture the story of Garen and Katarina, which is something the actual story never talked about. So it seemed like Riot was counting on this short movie to fill that gap. Next, we have a comic leak. While we were expecting the CZECH comic to arrive first, Amazon managed to leak the Lux comic before that. All it really showed us is the cover art. It features Lux, Garen and Silas. And we also got the page count. Other than that, nothing major really. We knew this comic was on its way anyway. Lastly, since Riot already leaked the new Mordekaiser with their emote, we also got an icon of him because why not? An interesting thing regarding lore that we should talk about is the way new stories arrive now. Riot is now trying to release lore in patches, so that we always get multiple stories at the same time. Right now, the plan is that these lore patches will arrive on Tuesdays, but it may happen that they skip a week every now and then. But at least we know that Tuesdays are the days that we should be waiting for. And now, the last thing I want to talk about in this video is the new Tristana skin. Last time it was decided that Tristana will get the little demon skin, and we already got more information on its development. First of all, we learned why they picked Tristana in the first place. Last time we got Ilaoi, a champion that is not played often, but one that has hardcore following. Tristana is a nice contrast to that, so Riot can use her to get a lot of data from this entire process. Since Tristana is played a lot, and she already has a lot of skins, Riot can see which skin themes are the most popular, which people buy the most and which they use the most in-game. On top of that, since Tristana is played a lot, people will see the new skin in-game more often. But in summary, Riot picked Tristana for science. When they were picking which themes to explore, they learned that her gun is very important. Just like it was with Firefighter Tristana, it is her gun that can make the theme work. On top of that, they had to make a decision. Do they want to make skins that fit her comedy personality, or do they want to make something serious to make her feel different? Since this is not an easy decision, the players had a vote on that in the end. However, the original choices we got were different. Originally there was Sci-Fi Gunner, Demon and Cyberpop, which was similar to the Zoe skin. But because Cyberpop was too similar to the Sci-Fi Gunner, it was scrapped. In fact, when they were choosing which one to keep, they chose Sci-Fi Gunner because her other futuristic skins used real-life tech, and this skin was different from the others. So after the votes were settled and Demon Tristana went through, it was time for visual effects. At first Riot played with Demon Fire, which were bright red demonic flames. We even got a video showcasing these spell effects. But this brought in another issue. This looked too similar to the Dragon Trainer Tristana, and it simply wasn't unique. So instead, Riot went a different direction. To make this skin totally different from anything else, they embraced a new theme, Demonic Soulfire. These fire animations would be ghostly blue instead of red, and surprisingly enough, they worked just fine. We got a video of them too. So after this successful pass, Demon Tristana was turned into Soul Demon. And by meshing together different skins, we got this illustration of what we can expect with her head. Keep in mind that the body is still just her Omega Squad skin. After this they started working on the splash art. And here is where you guys let them know which ones you like. These were the original ideas they explored, and these are the final 4 they went with. So now we are deciding between number 2, 5, 7 and 9. My favorite one is 9, but I wanted the Sci-Fi Gunner, so what do I know? But that's it for this episode of Rift News. To be honest, I got hyped about Odyssey again. I hope they will bring the event back this year. It was really successful, and the majority of players liked it. I would say it couldn't go wrong, but I know the industry, and it will end up on the Epic Game Store. Hey, did you know that we have social media and Twitch where we talk about other league facts and stories? And did you know that we have need mugs and shirts too? The links to all of that will be below. And as always, thank you, come again.